And I'm also about to spotlight the screen. So everybody should, if you're in speaker view, you should be able to see what just looks like two big pieces of taped up paper. Our first assignment is going to be, so you guys are just going to need a pencil and a paper. That's all you're going to need. Doesn't really matter what. Our first assignment, I'm going to have you copy what's in here down here. But before we do that, I want to review a few terms with you. Let me know if any of this is like kind of too elementary for you. We'll start with this question. What's that? Anybody? What's that? You're all laughing at me. Okay,
Circle.
It's a circle, right? Fair enough. What's that?
A squiggle.
A squiggle? Any other guesses?
A lima bean.
A lima bean could be, yep. I've heard it all. So you're right. So in our sort of, I'm going to call it left brain view of the world, this is a circle and this is not. But in the right brain view, I will explain more about this later, so you'll understand what I'm talking about. In right brain world, a circle is actually a group of shapes. It's any number of shapes. It's any shapes that are kind of roundish with no sharp edges. So actually, both of these are in what I might call the circle family. Right, and really that's just anything roundish with no sharp edges. They can be little, they can be big. There are 5 families of shape upon which we draw everything. So this is one family of shape. Don't worry about writing this down. I can get you all this stuff later. Dots, we have the dot family, and the dots are just like the circle family, anything roundish with no sharp edges except they're filled in, right? So if this was a dot, would be filled in. So circles are not filled in, dots are filled in. Now take a look at your doorway, any doorway, and tell me what is the shape of the doorway. Anyway.
Rectangular.
Rectangle, right. We do not have a rectangle family of shape. We've got these 3 left. We've got straight lines. We have angle lines. And we have curve lines. So the straight line family can be thick straight lines, they can be thin, they can be little, they can be big. Angle lines are just 2 lines put together, right? Narrowly or widely. And curve lines are just curves. They could be small curves or bigger curves or even curved like a snail shell. So looking at these 5 families of shape, how would you, what family would build the, or families would build the door? Well, what would we construct the door from?
Probably
Straight line and angle lines.
Yeah, straight lines or angle lines, right? Absolutely, absolutely. So everything can be constructed from these 5 shapes simply, right, in a simple way. So now let's come to this and tell me what families you see represented here.
Some curved lines, some straight
Okay.
lines.
Excellent. Any angles?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a couple angles. Are there any circles or dots?
Maybe the bottom right.
That's interesting, right? But can we see it? You're absolutely right. We have a curved line, maybe here. Yeah, it also could be interpreted as an angle line. I guess it just depends. No, anyway, right? Like maybe one little curved line, but no dots, no circles, right? So we've got curved lines, straight lines, and angle lines. So now what I'd like you to do is draw a little box just like this. And I want you to, as quickly as you can, recreate these shapes in your box. Can everybody see it well enough? Great. Okay. And I'll do it with you. I always like to start this from the left. And when you're done, hold it up to your screen. Yeah, Melissa, not bad. Good. Let's see. You don't have to like keep holding it up. Well, like, but yes, hold it up once so I can see it. Excellent, Maya. Looks great. It's okay if you're taking longer at this. Excellent, Alexia. You got it. Mhm. I noticed some people gave themselves bigger boxes, other people gave themselves smaller boxes. It's good. Interesting. Every way of doing this is valid in that way. Megan and very nice, you guys. Excellent work. Joe, great. Amy, great. Ashley, great. Perfect. Excellent. Janine, excellent. Great. Jen, I haven't seen yours yet. Oh, she left. Okay. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how difficult was that? If 1 is easy, 10 is hard, how would you rank that?
3.
2, 3. Okay. What's hard about it? What are the difficult things about it?
I was afraid everyone was gonna be done before me.
Going fast, right? Okay, Amy, 4, right?
Well, spacing.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, Janine. See, I knew this was, you got this all in your head already, right? It's hard. It's easy to make things too big or small, right? Anybody observe that like it's easy, you make things too big and it's hard to get things in exactly the right places. And really what happens is as you're starting to draw lines, we tend to make our lines bigger. It's just a very natural sort of human tendency. As we look at things, we look really closely and we make them bigger. But this was not an impossible exercise, right? It was doable. Doable. All right, what were you drawing? What would you guess? Any idea?
Me?
Is it a map?
A map? Somebody says a map. Okay, what else?
Cracks in the sidewalk.
Cracks in a sidewalk. Excellent guess. What else? Anything else?
Some
wanna
sort
see?
of stiff fabric.
Fabric. Somebody else guesses fabric. All right. I've heard tree trunks. I've heard all kinds of things. Do you want to see what it is? Okay, here's what it is. Oh, nope, that's not what it is. It's up here. This is a Picasso drawing of his best friend Igor Stravinsky. And if you don't recognize it, how about now? Let's see, about here, right? Here and here. Okay, so let me back this up and say that if I had not talked to you about what what these different shapes were, and we hadn't talked about, and I told you, by the way, I put this drawing in front of you right side up and said, this is a Picasso drawing by Igor Stravinsky. Please draw his legs. How easy would that assignment be on a scale of 1 to 10? I see you all shaking your head like, yeah, impossible, right? It's an impossible assignment, but y'all just did it. You not only just did it, you ranked it maybe a 2 to a 4 in difficulty. So how is it that something that intellectually, when it's introduced in a different way, is an impossible thing becomes possible? I just moved you into right brain, right? This is the right brain. So let's talk a little bit about what right brain is. So right brain, there are all kinds of ideas about right brain. I kind of hesitate to ask you them because I'm setting you up, right? So I don't really feel like doing that. So I'm just going to tell you what the preconceptions about right and left brain are. The preconceptions about left brain, and this is so widely believed and so wrong, but it's so widely believed that it's really, I feel like the need to address it every time. People say things like the left brain is analytical and logical, and the right brain is creative and intuitive. Have you heard these things? Right? Artistic. I hear that a lot. If you guys are words people, so you know, you can already see there's a little bit of a problem here, right? And part of that problem is that we assume that there's nothing creative about being analytical, or there's nothing, intuition is not related to logic, right? So a better way of thinking about left brain or right brain, sorry here, I don't know why this is, there we go. Let's see if it'll stay like that. So let's cross out these ideas. I like to think of the left brain as verbal conceptual. And we're in it most of the time. And you guys particularly are in it because you're writing. The right brain is visual spatial. So verbal conceptual, as I said, is what we're in all the time. It's how we learn language, right? Or for some of us, 2 or 3 languages. So it takes many years to develop, right? We spend most of our time as babies listening to the languages spoken around us so that we know, for example, here, I'm going to pop myself up here. So that we know, for example, that this is the hand, or a manos, or whatever language you know it to be in, or what languages you know. And you don't have to see this to know what it is, right? You have a picture in your mind, a concept in your mind attached to a word so that you can speak. Really key to developing language. So we're in it all the time. I will often have people say to me, yeah, I am a right brain person, I'm not left brain. And I'm like, you just said that to me. So you're still in left brain. When you stop being able to talk, that's when we move into right brain. And it's very dominant in our life. And for you guys particularly, because you're all good with words, right? You're quick. It's like you get quick. So here, for example, is my hand bigger or smaller than my head? Bigger or smaller?
Smaller.
Okay. What about now?
Bigger.
Bigger. Did you find yourself hesitating to answer that question correctly? Were you like, wait a minute? Because what your verbal conceptual understanding of your hand, notice how quickly you added that concept in. The hand is smaller than the head. Right? So we're always picking up information, adding it to our verbal understanding. However, when you're drawing, it's not really about what you're drawing. It's about where it is in relationship to you. So it doesn't really matter what this is. If it's closer to you, it's the biggest thing. As it gets farther away, it gets smaller. This is why it's easier for you to draw this when you don't know what it is, because when you know what it is, your left brain begins telling you things about it. It begins. So if any of you had this moment where you were like, wait a minute, I just learned the left brain is bigger than that, is smaller than the head. How can it be bigger than the head? It doesn't really matter what this is and what this is, right? It doesn't matter. So when we go to this place of shapes and their relationship to us, how far away, how close they are, then we move to visual spatial brain. And it helps not to know what something is. If you know what it is, your left brain wants to jump into the driver's seat and tell you what's going on with it. This is why we have a lot of trouble with drawing. Does that make any sense? There's like when I learned this, it blew my mind. It blew my mind. I was like, oh my God, there's an entirely different way to perceive things that has nothing to do with what it is. It all has to do with visuals. Janine, I know you're dealing with this all the time in your job, right? You're constantly, and you're probably trying to drag along the reporters with you to go with you in this, right, journey. In fact, I remember when I was 30, I was working for a magazine and I was developing a travel column for them. And each week, like the design director would come to me and say, okay, what's your travel column about? And I'd say, it's about this. And she'd say, all right, well, how are we gonna, make this look like something? And I was so mad every week because I didn't, like, in my mind, I didn't understand. She wasn't just thinking about the words. She had to think about how they looked, the pieces. This is visual spatial understanding, right? And the more I learned about it, the more obsessed I became with it, the more obsessive it becomes to practice it. So my question to you guys is, would you like to get into right brain a little bit more? Shall we practice some things? Let's try a few things. All right, and please ask questions along the way as you're going along. Whoops, here, wrong one. You don't want to see me. We'll have you do this. Replace. Come on. There we go. Okay, so let's try drawing something different. I'm not going to tell you what it is we're drawing, but I want you to draw along with me. And once you know, I want you to yell it out. Okay, so I'll just go down here. Let's start with a dot and a circle. And then once you've got the dot and the circle, let's draw a straight line directly to the right, kind of lined up with that dot and circle. Straight vertical line. And then we're going to add a straight, longer perpendicular line. Bisects this vertical line. I always feel the words really ruin it, but I'm going to say them anyway. But this line bisects, you can see what's going on there. Two straight lines like this. Anybody know what we're drawing? What are we drawing?
A bird.
Yes. And if you didn't guess that here, this is a very simple one. This is the first one. We're going to get more complex, I swear. But roll with me here. There you go. There's his little head. It's just a curved line. And then we've got at the bottom of his beak here, at the bottom of this straight line here, another straight line for his back or her back, who knows. Curved line for the little body. And then the legs are two little lines right next to each other. And then three curved lines for the little feet. So if anybody was feeling anxious, I'm assuming right now you're really enjoying this. It should be pretty fun. And by the way, I have no expectation that your bird looks exactly like my bird. You're going to notice differences in the way people do marks. I'm going to give you some variations to this. I always like to put wings in. So that's a curved line kind of coming through the middle of this back straight part. It comes to another curved line meeting it here. Another curved line out and another curved line down. And then you have choices about how you want to finish this bird. You want to maybe do some feathers. They could be round, they could be angles. You could do anything, maybe for your wings, maybe down here a little bit. You could do a tail kind of straight lines or two angle lines or an angle line and a straight line put together. You could do circles. He could be flying in the air, or we could put him on a branch. So just take a minute to finish your bird. And then when you finish your bird, I want you to send it across the thread. Is everybody on the WhatsApp thread? Okay, I was expecting this. So I think, so do y'all have WhatsApp on your phone? Most of you have WhatsApp on your phone. Let's see, quickest way to do this is I can share the thread in the WhatsApp in our chat screen here. You can copy it and send it to your phone. Give me a second, but also just work on your bird for the minute. Don't worry about WhatsApp just yet. If you have things to color in, you could totally color them in. Wait a minute, where's my? That's annoying. Okay. Jen, can you forward the WhatsApp to anybody who says they don't have it?
Yeah, I can put it in chat. Is it?
Can you
okay?
do it? I'm like looking for it and like,
I've
yes,
got.
that would be great.
I just put it in. This.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Perfect. And it just came through here. Perfect, perfect.
Okay.
So I'll take a picture of my bird. He's cute. Oh, Joe, he's adorable. I love him.
Thanks.
Yeah, cutie. Not so hard. Everybody send your birds across as you're working. Yes, and there's a thread. Just join it as you will. It's not like a requirement. Oh. Who just sent this one across? I love it. I love all the little fur texture. Oh, or the feather texture. Fantastic. Very creative. Oh, you guys, these are great. Great. Oh. If you can tell me who you are. Oh, I love this little, this has a nice like little folky quality to it. Very lovely. They're great. They're great. Oh my God, they're fantastic. Yeah, everybody's put your name in it just the first time, so I know whose is whose. I know you all know each other. It's a little easier for me. These are fantastic. So, oh my God, I love it. I love it. Look how different these are. So one of the things I really like, and Ashley, you kind of brought this up at the beginning of class, and our school will really do this to you, right? They'll make you feel like there's only one way to do something. And I actually am really appreciating all these little different tweaks that everybody took. Notice that even beyond the little tweaks that you took to decorate your bird in your old way, notice how the pencil looks different. The pencil marks are different from person to person, right? So to me, that's voice. And the voice is just there. And oh my God, these are adorable. These are just adorable. You guys are killing me. Oh,
Oh my God. Got the one with the worms. Really cute.
I love it. Oh, here's one with the worm. I love that he's got a little extra line here, which makes him look really cranky too. Look at that. One line can convey an entirely different emotional state. Isn't that amazing? That just blows my mind. Oh my God, you guys, these are fantastic. They're really great. Okay, so let's do a few more. Let's do a few more. We're gonna go up to slightly more realistic looking birds. Don't worry. Oh my God, drawing is so great. It really is the greatest. So one of the things I hope you're getting by now is that drawing is something that anyone can do. If you can hold a pencil and copy shapes, you can draw. It's less about, it's a practice, just like learning to read and write was for us, right? Or to speak for that matter, right? It was many like years, it took many years to do this, but it's entirely possible to do this. So I am going to start by walking you through this bird. You'll observe it's the easiest bird. I totally am picking the easiest bird. Then I'm going to have you guys do the rest on your own. I mean, I'll be here to help if you want me to, of course. So we'll start with this little guy. I'm just going to start with the dot for the eye. And then that little line for the top of his head. Then it looks like underneath and to the left is a little free, I guess I should say one angle line and one straight line. I shouldn't use the word triangle. And then curved line like that. And if you want to, you can move stuff up or down. And then it looks like there's two curved lines for the inner body and then slightly longer curved lines on the outside of each of the littler curved lines. This is my absolute favorite part of this drawing, these little toes. So a bigger dot, smaller dot, smaller dot, bigger dot. And then really the tail is just curved lines. So I want you to try drawing this guy, and then I want you to pick another bird to draw. And I'm going to actually send a picture of this across the thread so you have it, you can look at it even more close up. Or maybe I'll just try and get it super close up so you can really see it.
Wait, which one are we drawing on our own?
All of them.
Okay.
Start with whichever one you want. You can start by drawing this bird, which I just showed you how to do, right?
Okay, yeah. I
And
was saying that
then
one.
and then just pick another one.
Okay.
And then do as many as you can.
Okay.
And in the meantime, we'll chit chat while you're doing that. And as although I don't want to distract you too much. Here, hold on. I'm going to take a picture of this bird, these birds, and send them. So I'm also sending these birds across a thread. So if this is not, if you can't see it well enough, you can look at it up close. It's better, Jen, than the old days, right? Now I have several cameras involved. We used to have to you're so patient. We used to have to make copies and it was crazy, like everything. And now everything's it's so much easier. Now all you need to do is come to class with a pencil and a paper and a computer and a phone. Yeah, just fill your paper and just any of these birds, you can start with the eyes if you want to. All of each one of them you could. You might find that you kind of can't talk while you're doing this. You might find that the words kind of go out the window. You might find it hard to concentrate on conversation. You might find this a little difficult. You might find yourself having to look a lot at your source. That's okay. Yeah. If you've got crayons or markers or watercolors or anything, when you're done drawing, you can color them in. Good. All right, so I'm going to let you be for a few minutes and then I'm coming back. I mean, I'm here, but I'm just gonna unmute for 1 second to say, do you see why this is obsessive? Can anybody sense that this could become an obsession? In a good way. We'll talk more later. When you've got a couple birds down, go ahead and send a shot of them. Send them across the thread. Either you can do all of them. I think we have time, so take your time. But if you've done one you like, or several, or all of them, or just a couple of them, send a picture across. And by the way, once you've got the basic shapes down, do whatever you want with these birds. You're all showing excellent drawing positioning. And by that, I mean, I see your head bouncing back and forth between your drawing and what you're looking at, your drawing and your source, drawing, source, drawing, source. One of the mistakes beginning drawers make is they stop looking. They look once and then they think you have to remember everything. I find I can maybe remember one line. I have to go look again. So drawing is a constant, visual spatial is a constant looking. Very nice. Birds are starting, these are adorable. Birds are starting to come across the thread. Ooh, who used color? That's nice. Nice, Maya, nice. Lovely. So I can see you guys are still doing it. Keep going. Jennifer, I don't know how much time we have. Do we have an hour? Do we have hour and a half? Is it okay? Can we be flexible?
I wasn't exactly sure, but
Okay.
I guess like whatever the group thinks. I don't know. I
Okay.
told a couple people it was far
I
with.
love this. Whoever
time.
is using the colored pencil, who is that? 202-270-6111. Whose number is that?
That's me.
Great. I love it. Wonderful. Keep going. Since we have flexibility, sometimes I have to rush off. Sometimes I have like half an hour or 45 minutes or an hour, but we'll be going on at 4:30, which is in about 8 minutes from now. We'll take a break for a minute, and then we'll make a decision. We'll talk a little bit and then we'll decide. So if you have not finished yet, of course, try to get as much done as possible. If you have finished, redraw one that you think you might be able to do better if you tried it again, right? Or you just want to try again because you thought it was fun. Great, Jen. Very nice. Janine, so nice. Jen, your guys has all this personality. Oh, these are great, you guys. And very distinctly different from each other. I like that. Even though you're working from the same source. If you're done and you don't want to draw another one, think about what you have in your house that could add a little pizzazz. Maybe you just have a black Sharpie pen. Maybe you've got some watercolors. Maybe you've got colored pencils. Maybe you have markers or highlighters. Add a little bit of color. Nice, Melissa. These are great. Joe, great. I love them. It's so fun, isn't it? I mean, listen, I won't lie to you. Drawing's not easy exactly, but it's doable. It's like going to the gym is doable. Would we say it's easy all the time? No. Half the time we don't want to do it when we go. But if we do it, we know we can do it to some degree. And the more we do it, the better we get at it. The more we do it, the more we exercise our right brain. We'll take 4 more minutes. And then we'll talk.
Oh, I love the color, the stuff in color I'm seeing coming across. I can't help it. I love color. And that's what got me all hooked into art in the first place. Drawing was actually secondary to me, but I realized I had to draw if I wanted to paint. So. Oh, these are really cool. Yeah. So cute, right? So darling. All of these.
So stop what you're doing for a minute. I'm going to remove the spotlight here. Put yourself in gallery view so we can all see each other. Just hold it up for a minute. Whatever you're working on, hold it up so we can see it on the screen. If you've got a wavery screen, oh my God, great work, you guys. I like the highlighter. If you've got a wavy background, oh wow, look at that, Alexia. Wow. Ashley, let me, oh yes, that was the one I was looking at and love it. I love it. I love it. Oh, you guys, they're beautiful. So beautiful. Ashley, I could see you went right back into your love of art right there. Right back in, right? So I want you to observe a couple things. One of the things I'd like you to observe is that feeling that you either stated or wrote down at the beginning of class. Has it changed at all? Has it changed? Does anybody want to share how it's changed? How has it changed for you? I can say that I am like mellower than I was. I was very excited at the beginning of class. And then after like kind of watching you draw, I wasn't even drawing myself after a while. I was just watching you draw. Yeah, Amy's saying I feel more relaxed, right? Anybody else notice a difference? How do you feel?
Definitely, I definitely came in being anxious, and I feel a lot less anxiety
A
after
lot
an
less
hour of drawing.
anxiety. Was the anxiety over drawing, or was the anxiety just from the day? Or
Oh,
both?
well, just from the day, but the drawing was like on top of it.
Right, so you were
Having to
nervous
share
that
my
you wouldn't-
drawings.
Right. It's really hard, right? Journalists, y'all are really bright, intelligent people. So like, it's hard to put yourself in a position where you don't know what's going on, right? Like it's a scary thing to do that. But believe me, I cried the first 3 years. I was like, went to drawing classes. I would go home and cry every night because I felt like such a loser. Like, oh my God, everybody's so much better than me. I don't really understand this. But alongside that, I was completely captivated by the process. Did anybody find the process interesting? Did anybody find it easier than you thought? Megan's like, I don't know.
I found it
Focusing on the
easier.
shapes helped. Focusing on and thinking about these as just a composite of those 5 different shape families helped.
Ashley, what were you gonna say?
I just was gonna say, I felt it easier to like let go and not really be obsessive about it. I thought I was gonna be like obsessive, but I don't need
It's
to.
actually kind of nice, isn't it? Kind of relaxing.
Mhm.
I have a student. So what I didn't, is there no Jennifer right now? Oh, there she is. There you are. You moved in your square. What I do now, I mean, I'm an artist professionally, full-time. I'm a painter. So I paint paintings and people buy them, hopefully. I also run an art school online, and I work with right now 4 journalism companies offering classes to the entire company for free. So, well, it's not the company pays, but the employees don't pay. And so I have a lot, maybe 100 students and a couple hundred students that come in and out of the, I don't know, 6 or 7 classes that are offered a week. And I have a student in London. I have a student in London. Can you guys give me just 1 second? Give me 1 second. Hi there, did you need anything? I want to say what? I have a class going now and I'll come after class. Okay.
I have a student in London who wears one of those little it's a ring that like takes your blood pressure and your blah, 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 and all of that. And after she's been doing drawing for an hour and a half, it literally says she's sleeping. The ring actually says her heart rate goes down so much, and she's working. We think that's funny because she's actually working quite hard in the class. She's concentrating on the class, she's doing it, she's so did anybody observe anything like that? I think even though it's kind of, it requires you to be focused, even though it requires you to be focused, it does like also kind of relax you at the same time, a little bit like maybe meditating. So do you guys have any questions about this? What else? Any other thoughts about it? Was it
I was
fun?
gonna say that like focusing on one thing, like being, it's like from what I've learned of like meditating is what you just said is focusing on something and not like letting your mind race about other things might be, I don't know if that's the reason why it seems relaxing, but I'm assuming it has something to do with that.
It is. Actually, I used to think that meditating was like emptying my mind. And then I learned to draw and I realized that like meditating is actually filling my mind with a task that requires so much focus, I can't think of anything else. Well, I thought you guys did great. And Jennifer, I don't know, is there anything else we'd like to, you guys want to talk about anything else, or that's it? That's the drawing lesson.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, for me, when I had a commute, I had an hour and a half commute in California on a train, and I used to spend my 6:30 in the morning time drawing, and it like really like settled my brain for the day.
Right.
And now when I'm walking from over there to over here,
It's
that's my
less
whole
stressful.
yeah. But yeah, I would love to get feedback from you guys, and you know, if we want to go forward, we can. I think just where we can draw our pets, and a lot of people
yeah.
pets. So
We
this
can
was
totally do that.
Stanley that I did. We just lost. So.
Oh, I saw that. I'm
Aw.
sorry about that.
It was my best drawing though. But yeah, give me some feedback, Leah. Send me that bill, and
Yeah, you got it. It was a pleasure, you guys. I really love working. I always love working with the CPI. I used to do classes for CPI, so it's been a while, but I have before, and I think it is. It's really valuable. Everybody can learn to draw, and I feel like just like the way everybody learns to read and write. I mean, imagine if you couldn't read or write, how frustrating the world would be to you, how small and constricted it would be. And also your brain can do it, but you haven't activated it yet, right? So it's not something you know how to do by yourself.
I have a question before we go.
Yeah.
So is like, do you see the benefits for journalists as being like a relaxing, like kind of therapeutic thing, or is there some other benefit that?
It is relaxing and therapeutic. I also think it makes you a better writer. And I don't have anything beyond anecdotal observations about this, but what I have found is that learning to think like this helps you see your story. Anybody who is like, as you're constructing a story, you're thinking about it in pieces, right? The developing the visual spatial will help you with constructing other things, including the construction of a story. That is my belief. Can I prove that? No. I can't say that.
How about the Reuters folks found that?
Oh yeah, they've all said that. I mean, yes. I really, I mean, I've been working with Reuters people for 5 years. What was interesting was after a while, I found they didn't, they know they're good at writing stories. They were like, I kept trying to get people to say that, and then afterwards, I realized for them, it really. The most important thing is the relaxing element and the challenge, the mental challenge, right? But absolutely, of course, it'll affect everything you do. Absolutely. It will affect the way you think, it'll do everything. So That is the kind of it's like learning any other new skill. Particularly as an adult, it gets your whole brain firing. And the sad news they found is that like once you get really good at something, your brain stops using its whole self. It comes up with little shortcuts, like when you learn to drive, you learn to ride a bike, you learn to read, all these other skills. Your brain stops firing on all cylinders. Oh, we like kitties.
Harvey.
Hi, Harvey. So the nice thing about drawing, which no one ever really gets super good at. I mean, there are actually people who are really amazing, but even they'll tell you they work really hard, right, to do that, that the continuing challenge of that keeps all your synapses firing, keeps everything firing. And then things that, what do they say? Things that wire together, fire together. So you'll begin to observe the world. To me, I think visual spatial is a less judgmental. I think verbal conceptual is very judgmental, and very often people are wrong about what's going on, right? We make assessments about what's going on. We're not correct. But verbal conceptual is really honing your observation skills, right? Observing what something, it's a lot less, it's one thing to say that beak is like two triangles and a curved line, or than to say, I don't know, what is that person like? That bird looks pissed off to me, or that bird looks, that's a totally different set of like. So I find that like the focus on the visual spatial keeps you in reality. and pulls your verbal conceptual, which is sometimes right and sometimes wrong, into check. And I think that's important for us to do, right? If anybody's read Malcolm Gladwell's Blink, there's this, that is what his book is all about, right? Like that idea. We live in an incredibly judgmental and fucked up world right now. Yeah, I'll say that on tape. I don't think anybody here is going to disagree with me on that. And so anything that pulls you out of that space and into, I'm just trying to see, what is this shape? Let me get that shape. Let me get this shape. Oh, this shape is in relation to this shape. The other thing about drawing is that it kind of forces you to look at all the shapes, right? Not just the thing that you're looking at. You don't just spend all your time drawing an eye. You have to figure out where the eye is in the face, in the thing, right? What's the size of the head? Where's the eye in relation to this, and the nose and the mouth, and there's a constant thing where you're stepping back to look at the whole picture. And that's helpful. I think that's a very helpful analytical skill that translates. Does that answer that question? Sort of. It's hard to put words on it. But yeah, you will find it will make you sharper at everything. And you're already sharp, so y'all are already sharp. So yeah, any other questions? Well, you guys, it was an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. Thank you.
I'm
Yeah.
so glad. I hope you keep going. And maybe we'll do some more classes together. And Jennifer, thank you. It's just lovely to see you. I miss you.
You too, miss you too. Thank you so much.
Yeah. All right,
This
you
was
guys.
great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Take care,
Thank
you
you.
guys. I'll send the video over. Take care.
Bye,
Okay.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.